I have an idea that kind of solves all this, and I want to hear your thoughts. So, and then we'll move to another subject. But this to me is, I think this would work. This would work. So we need an American golf tour strictly for Americans. And what that'll do is that'll provide opportunity for American golfers to make money playing golf because we have big enough nation now to where we need to invest back into the golf communities within our own citizenship because I think that'll one give more people opportunity, hopefully through golf scholarships or whatever. But I think two, that would create more, it would outsource emotional attachment from Americans because we're seeing our hometown heroes compete against each other. I think that would be really cool. But this is where I want it to grow from there. I'm not just saying that's the end product. What I think the LIV and the PGA Tour need to do is they need to combine and create a world tour. And this world tour, they have teams that are country based. So we have a England team, we have an American team, we have a Japanese team, we whatever, right? And these teams that are world based, they can have a team aspect, but they can also play individually. That's your best, biggest purses. That is the highest ranked events. Have 12 a year, once a month, and we send people to play these events, and then we can also throw the majors in there too. But I think that would be such a cool product because you're giving the best Americans a chance to compete against the best people internationally. But what we're also creating is availability with the American tour to open up the spectrum of American golfers to have a legit chance at making golf a career whether they make the world team or not. But I think as a spectator, it would be so badass to know that once a month you're going to watch an event wherever it is in the world and you're going to have, let's say, 5, 10 Americans there or whatever it is, hope maybe less than that, but you're going to have one tournament per month where we can support our nation because there's nothing more competitive than when you involve the element of sport. I mean, look at the Olympics, dude,
Yeah.
right? That would be insane. I mean,
Yeah.
people die over the Olympics. And so if we have that sort of situation monthly, wherever they go, whatever they're doing, and not only that, they're only playing 12 times a year. So they can have
Yeah.
adequate enough money to where the purses will be big enough to entice these guys, and they're not playing every weekend. And I think the smaller events on the PGA Tour that are not getting much love, what they will start to do is they will start to get a little bit more love because it's strictly an American events or strictly American golfers, which then creates American demand because we are watching these Americans. Now, the only issue with this is I understand that there's some countries that probably don't have the access to have a professional golf tour, so if they're not allowed to play in this American golf tour and they can only compete for this world tour, where exactly are they going to go?
Mhm.
Well, we can always the DP tour or whatever, encourage that. But in terms of an American system, I think that would really tackle on some things that I think the professional golf world is struggling with. But at the same time, I don't want to create some sort of racial tension there. So, I understand where that could be maybe a little bit, controversial, but I
Yeah.
think as an American, and don't get me wrong, when Hideki Matsuyama won the Masters, good on him, but when I saw Anthony Kim win the LIV event, as an American, I got more
Sure.
emotionally invested in that than I did Hideki winning the Masters. Not
Sure.
and so that to me says something.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna take opportunities away from a guy like Hideki because he very well deserves them, right? And if we said, "Hey, by the way, this is an American-only tour now. You can only play for your world team. You get 12 tournaments a year. Uh, go back to Japan." It might be a little bit of racial tension there. That seems a little intense. I don't want it
Yeah.
to be that kind of a situation, but that thought has always made me think, "Okay, well, maybe there's something there. Maybe it doesn't even have maybe we could still have the PGA Tour, but then we also have another tour underneath it where it's American based. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
saying right?
No, yeah. I mean, I think what I've heard from like Brian Rolap is definitely encouraging along those lines where like there's going to be kind of two tracks of like this first track is like the best of the best. Let's
Yes.
call it again top 120. I think the reality is, like, yeah, we're American biased, and I think the reality is also that the best, deepest country is by far America, which is
Right.
why we have to include all of Europe and the rest of the world
Yeah.
for Ryder Cup and President's Cups to be competitive, right? Like,
Yeah.
if we played LV12 against just England, we would smoke them.
Very valid.
You know what I mean?
We
So that's where the golf world, and I hate that like a lot of the discussion about major championships need to travel. The PGA championship should go to Australia or what. Like, I get it to some extent, but the consumerism in America is also, frankly, a hell of a lot bigger than in any other country. And it's
right.
because the money is just here. When it comes to sport, if you want the biggest and the best, why is Shohei Otani playing in America? Because
Yes.
he can make so much more money here,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And ultimately, I do like that the USGA is doing the US national development team for juniors.
Yes.
I do think that the Ryder Cup needs to be, drastically changed. And in my opinion, the PGA of America needs to give that up, and let the PGA Tour run that, because I don't think the CEO slash president of the PGA of America is in tune enough with what's going on at the tour level to execute that at a high level from a player standpoint and what those guys need. I mean, it's become a debacle.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in some way, shape, or form, I do think that the US needs to figure out a way to identify, develop, provide opportunities for up and coming and current Americans to prove that, hey, when the Olympics come around, we're going to have a badass team of the best, right? And we're
Right.
going to bring home gold because we're just the best. And we're not going to lose Ryder Cups because we're the best, right?
Yes. I've
So,
always thought that our we don't have the best golfers in our Ryder Cup team. I've always thought that.
no,
To
it's
me,
all buddy, picky, choosy. Oh, I want to
I
play with him. I want to travel with his wife. And,
yeah. Well, so I just did an episode, by the way, and when you're done, you should look up. It's called Reimagine PGA.
I
It's
saw
W.
that on your story. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that. Okay, so what it is these Class A professionals, they all got together because they want transparency amongst the PGA of America and where their finances are going because they believe that things are not going correctly because obviously PGA professionals are not getting paid very well. And they're wondering, well, why is this happening when we're having what couple I would say 50 million per year or per tournament of revenue coming in from the PGA Championship and from the Ryder Cup. So they're just wondering why we're as a nonprofit entity, why are PGA professionals not getting any sort of bonuses or any sort of financial whatever from that.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting because in the caddy realm, I have a few guys that are been in the PGA for a long time, and then they turn into caddies, and so they just sort of sit in the sidelines. Supposedly, Derek Spragg, either their issues were because he resigned after a year, and
Hmm.
his resignation was what they say he wanted to spend time with his mother because she was sick, and that always rung a bell in my head because I'm trying to figure out how would you turn down a 3.5 million per year job and you're more worried about taking care of your sick family, but yet you're going to have the financial income to not only take care of your family, but to provide them the best health care possible.
Right.
And so there was always something there. And I think one of the theories we had is exactly like you said, the way the Ryder Cup was held this year, or was it last year? It was last year. just wasn't done very well. And with all the fans and how everybody was treating the players and back and forth with that, they were thinking maybe it had something along with those lines. But the other theory is Derek was supposedly pocketing. I don't. Again, it might not even been him. Maybe he knew people pocketing money. That seems more reasonable to me. I don't feel like Derek. He didn't rub me as a guy that was for himself. Anyways, I don't know the dude, but I didn't really get a vibe from that. But the other consensus is with the membership money, with our dues and what we're spending, the PGA of America is pocketing a lot of that money on top of the excess revenue that they're getting from the Ryder Cup and the PGA Championship. And so it was in essence, we're trying to figure out why he resigned so fast. And to me, I think it's more or less the more I think about it, the more I think that he knew something about something. So that's why he ended up having to step down for whatever underlying reason there. Again, this is kind of a tin hat situation. But what I do agree with on what you said is I think the Ryder Cup needs to be held in a different fashion. I think some things do need to change. Um, and I would like the revenue to still go to the PGA of America, but if we can't run it correctly and we can't get an adequate enough team to really perform at the level we need to, man, then something has to change.
Well, the
Uh,
wild thing is the European tour is literally the DP World Tour is
yeah.
subsidized pretty much strictly off of the every other year income from the Ryder Cup, right? So the DP World Tour gets all the revenue for when it's in Europe, and that is what keeps that tour afloat
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because they don't get anywhere near the type of sponsorship dollars that we
No.
do in the States. So yeah, I mean, if they're doing well enough to support financially up a couple hundred players in the world, right? There's a lot of money that's coming into those big events. And then, yeah, literally just our dues on a yearly basis is a lot of money. I think, frankly, it got to be similar ish to our country is there's a ton of fraud in it, right? Ultimately, the cost of doing business gets inflated over time, and it's
Yes.
just due to waste and, again, fraud. Oh, well, it cost us this to do this year, and next year we want to add a little bit. So we need to add another 10, 15, 20% on top,
100%.
whatever it is. And okay, cool. Yeah, sure. You're the boss. Sounds good.
Right, we don't and we're accredited by you, so whatever you say, we're not just,
Right.
"Oh, yeah, well, fuck you, we're not paying that." It's, "Well, okay, then
Right.
your
Like,
accreditation now is up in for jeopardy,"
yeah.
and then you're talking to a PGM student whose family spent 100 grand to get that accreditation. You're
You'll
yeah,
come back asking for more. I mean, it's our version of the tax, right? It's like
yeah, 100%.
you wanna maintain and I mean, the privileges or benefits of, like, you can go to Augusta National, great. I've been a member for 12 years, and I've literally only been for 1 day because it's at the start of the golf season, and I have typically a tournament the Monday after every Masters, so I have to pick and choose
Yeah, right.
what are my priorities? Like, do I wanna drive to Augusta to go watch what's right in front of me? Or, hey, fortunately, the TV coverage is about as good as it gets that week. So I just choose to sit on my couch as much as I can. And
Enjoy the show.
right. It'd be really cool. I would go more if the PGA of America would also include a plus one in that, because unless you're in a group of people who happen to have tickets or a group of golf professionals, how many groups of golf professionals can all afford to go down to Augusta in early April at the start of the season for however many days, right? And if you can,
Yeah.
obviously you're in a pretty fortunate spot to be able to do that.
Right,
Uh,
and that's everyone, especially in the Southeast, that's where the beginning of the season is,
right.
and so you're having that's no, you don't hell
Yeah.
no, and more than likely, you're running some sort of Masters pool, and you're doing some sort of
Yeah. There's an
tournament.
event centered around it.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah,
I
and you
mean,
don't have the time to go down there, and even if you do, then you're gonna be constantly calling your assistants or whatever, making sure that
right.
shit's afloat, and so
Yeah.
you're not
And
even
I've
really
also
it.
heard from that have been on a weekend, they're like, I will never go again because I had no clue what was really going on. Again, it's nostalgic. It's cool to be able to not
Yeah.
take a phone in and for there to not be big screens and all that. But yeah, the TV coverage compared to just seeing what's right in front of your face is totally different.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure. Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, big business again. There's some fishiness to what goes on, and I mean, the, in my opinion, the PGA of America could very well be getting massive sponsors for just about anything that they so choose to, right?
Right.
Um, so that's other revenue streams. And again, like I get we do programs like PGA Hope. Those are incredible things that offer services to people that otherwise wouldn't have opportunities to play the game. I'm sure we
100%.
support like the first tee and
And
things along those lines.
yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of very worthy causes that, all these monies go towards, but yes, I also have no doubt that there are some things that are probably being overlooked, right? I don't want to deal with that, right?
Yeah, whatever. We got yeah, things are working out. Stop asking questions, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why it always is fascinating. Like the PGA Frisco facility. I mean, that fucking thing's worth $800 million,
The
man.
PGA doesn't even own that though.
They don't. Okay. It's
Yeah.
just some what see
It's owned by Hyatt.
okay, so some dude in there to okay. I was wondering, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
man, it's sitting on a $300 million piece of land, or
Yeah.
maybe not, I guess, whatever. If you do all the math and finances, it's somewhere between 800 million to 1.2 billion worth
Yeah.
of everything. Yeah, I remember now that you say that, I remember there's a hotel,
Yeah.
right, and
So
all.
in when the PGA Professional Championship was there a few years ago, I didn't qualify for that one, but I had buddies who played in it. Um, the cost of staying there was so high, the PGA rate was not even as good as it is at Bandon Dunes this year. Yeah. So, like,
Wow,
guys are driving 20, 30 minutes when there's a freaking massive hotel on property because it was so expensive to stay there.
that's insane. Oh,
It's so dumb.
that's
Like,
so dumb.
right. I
Wow,
mean,
that is that blows my mind. That
right.
makes
Yeah. I mean, I can honestly see why guys who qualify for the national championship enough times get to a point where they're like, it's not really worth me going. Like, if you don't feel like you have a legitimate chance of qualifying for the PGA championship, you might as well not show up because it's freaking expensive to do this.
oh,
Like,
100%, dude.
you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Well, I mean, this year you guys have to come all the way out to me,
Correct.
and to come out to me, dude, is not. I don't care if you're even coming from Portland.
Right.
It ain't
When it's
easy.
like you're either bringing a caddy with you, right? Or you're paying a local, right? And
Right.
part of me would love to have a local, but my buddy is also he's been at Bandon. He's been to Bandon literally every year for the last like 15 years. It's like a second home to him, and he helped me get to the PGA Championship last year. So I'm not
Well,
going to be
yeah,
like, yeah,
you need to have that trust there, dude. You know what I
right.
mean?
Like I would
Yeah.
very much rather rely on someone I'm very close to than obviously I could have asked you or whoever, but it's at times it's going to be a crapshoot. Like not every player who takes a local caddy is going to have an awesome rapport with that caddy after spending 2 days with them,
Well,
right?
and that caddy knows you.
Correct.
People don't know, and this is the thing. We'll actually get into this because we were going to talk. I think to finish off our thing, we were going to talk about the caddy player process, and
Yeah.
this is something that I try to tell caddies that because I play professionally, so I know because a caddy knows the game, that is about third of the battle to
Yeah.
me. The
Yeah.
other two thirds come from understanding the player.
Hmm.
And then to me, the last part is understanding the situation from both sides of the fence.
Sure.
And that, as a really good caddy, what we have to realize is the most important thing about, excuse me, the most important thing about caddying is reading the room. That is
Yeah.
the most important thing. And what I mean by this is you have to know what to say, what is the right time to say it, and you have to know how to say it.
Yeah.
because whether or not you have good information, that is fine. But if that information is not relayed in a fashion where that player can understand what you're saying to help them benefit their game, who gives a shit how much you know?
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. I mean,
Right?
yeah, after my ninth hole of the national championship last year, it's a relatively long cart ride to get to the 10th tee. Um, I give my caddy a ton of credit, and I've told this story many times. He knows me well enough to know that I don't need positive, supportive, encouraging slap on the butt. He's more like, if you want to do this, you need to, well, pull your head out of your ass and get it together.
Right.
Right.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're
Um,
tough love type of dude, right?
for sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, right.
He's like, "No one's gonna feel sorry for you, and you better not feel sorry for yourself, right? Like, you're either gonna get it going, or we're gonna go home after tomorrow, right?"
Yeah,
So, that round definitely felt like it was a 2 hands on the steering wheel, just trying to freaking survive. Some days you don't have your best stuff, and that's where, yeah, like, a caddy has to be, "I know this is not a comfortable shot for you, so what is the target, right? Like, what are
yeah,
we trying to eliminate from the realm of possibilities? And
yeah,
how can we shoot a score without having, again, our best stuff?"
100%.
So
Well,
yeah, it's huge.
and that's another thing is how when you don't feel comfortable over the ball, what do I need to tell you to get you in a state of mind to where you do feel comfortable over the ball? And again, some players need the softening pat on the ass, and then some people need the hard truth, and then some people don't even need that. And sometimes, so like you said, too much information is not good. Some people need all the
Yeah.
information. I don't know
Yeah.
who you are or what you need, but
Yeah.
to me, if I have a player that's not comfortable over the ball, I'm having again, what the information is, that's fine. Okay? That's whatever. It's a 150-yard shot playing 180. We know that.
Right.
Whatever. But now I have to sell it in a way to where that player, when they're over the ball,
They trust it.
they trust it. And
Yeah.
that's where the caddy, that's where what separates a caddy from a
Mm.
really, really good caddy is
Yeah.
knowing their player and reading their room around their player to a point where when I have to sell you something, I sell it in a way to where you are confident in the information I'm giving you. And that is such a differentiating task depending on the person. It becomes a very subjective conversation. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I mean, my wife's is a school teacher. I give lessons to a very wide variety of students, and when I talk to her about it, I give her a lot of credit for saying basically you have to learn to differentiate between, are you working with someone who's a high ability player who can digest a lot of information, or is this a very new person who's literally just trying not to embarrass themselves when they're playing golf, right? So
100%.
and yeah, like for you, these people are paying a lot of money to come and experience Bandon. And I would like to assume that if they're paying you, they're going to trust whatever it is that you say. But when they haven't played in those types of conditions, they're going to probably have some like, yeah, I have no earthly idea where this golf ball is going to go because they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
to begin with. Right.
100%.
Um, I mean, I try to challenge my students to self-discover and explore, hey, what are the things that I am thinking about, right? If
Yeah.
you're truly an airhead that just freaking stands up and hits the golf ball and you hit it good, I'm not going to tell you that you need to start thinking, right? But chances are if you're coming in to hang out with me, you're missing something. And that's where like I think the average person who is taking a caddy, I would hope at least is putting their life in your hands, so to speak. And um, I'm sure it's difficult to like have a grasp over how far they hit certain clubs. You're not just gonna know that off the rip. And I know you guys at Bandon don't go to the range and watch them hit balls before they play or anything like that, right?
Nope,
You
we
just
just
kind
show
of
up 10, 20 minutes before their tea time, and
right.
off we go. I can usually tell by the 3rd hole.
Sure.
I can
Yeah.
figure it out by then, but even
You said
then,
the third hole?
yeah, by the 3rd hole, I'll usually know.
Sure.
And again, even some if they're a good enough player, I can tell right off the gate, but that you have to be, I would say, under 5 or 4 handicap for me to really
Yeah.
be thinking, "Okay, yeah." 8 iron is a 165 club. I know that.
Yeah.
I can tell by their wear patterns on their clubs. I don't have to
Sure.
second guess that, but when I get a 15, 18 handicap,
Yeah.
sometimes it becomes a little more, "We haven't hit the board yet. We're on the 3rd
Mhm.
hole, maybe. Oh, there we go. We hit the board. Oh, your 7 iron goes 170, huh? That's pretty good. Okay, so now I know the potential of what
Yeah.
we're dealing with." And say that if we're in a situation where we're into the wind to a back flag and over the green is 180,
Yeah.
and I know if we leave it short, we're putting into the wind and they hit a higher ball, I can definitely convince them to hit a 6 iron because I know for a fact that 7 iron's not going to get there. And I'm not, maybe not a 5 iron, but in those situations when we have a player that thinks that they should be hitting a 7, and I know
They
there's
really
wind up,
need to hit a 5.
they really need to hit a 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I have to balance, I have to find the higher percentage of what they want, or not
Yeah.
necessarily what they want. I have to find the higher percentage sometimes, and so we'll end up a half club short or whatever. They
Yeah.
hit the 6 iron, it floats up in the wind, and it only we're 25 feet short of the hole, and sometimes they'll say, "Oh, man, I coulda hit a 5," and I'm thinking, "Well, maybe, but if you hit the 5 and we hit it somewhat thin, now we're long and you're
Yeah.
totally fucked, whereas
Yeah.
now we have a birdie putt uphill, and sure, you're not putting very well today, but from this standpoint, I have a better chance of getting you in with a score to where we're happy and we're moving forward."
Yeah.
R Right? And so, I always have to think 4 steps ahead
Yeah.
with player like today, I had the great example was today, I have these guys from San Francisco, they're good dudes, but they every putt we hit was somewhere between 3 to 8 feet by the hole.
Yeah.
And I I told them, "I'm not going to give you guys straight putts all day long. I'm not gonna tell you it's straight all day long. There's just
Yeah.
because what happens at one time you decide to hit it
Yeah.
6 inches by, and it breaks
Right.
off the fucking mountain. Now what? You're gonna
Yeah.
look at me like, I
What are you
mean,
doing?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, "Well, that wasn't straight as all. That moved 2 cups." Well, I expected you to hit that 5 feet by the hole, and now all of a sudden you decided to hit something with good speed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what
No,
I
it's
have
I mean,
yeah.
like, yeah, at the national championship last year, like, my caddy was reading the greens awesome, and I think it also yeah, it really depends on players' ability to control speed and matching up line that they're seeing with, your ability to control that, right? So,
Dude, that's
it's
so true, man.
yeah. At the end of the day, like, there's enough elements involved in whether it's putting, right? Speed, read, aim, stroke are kind of the main ones I use. Ultimately, when it comes to ball striking stuff, right? It's like, are you hitting it solid enough to where, in theory, if you're controlling the other variables, it's going close ish to the distance that it should,
Right, right.
right? And then, yeah, like if your face control sucks, obviously that's going to have an impact on distance control and directional control, right? So it's like, I don't think the average golfer has any concept of why the golf ball is doing what it's doing and what they are doing to cause the golf ball to do
Yep.
what it's doing, right?
100%, dude. Like,
You
a
know,
guy will hit a cut into the wind. "Oh, I
and it
shoulda
goes
hit 2
nowhere.
clubs more," and it's,
Yeah.
"Man, dude, do you understand if we turn this thing over, you're pin high?"
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's and I'm not gonna explain that to him. That's
Yeah.
a whole, and I don't want, again, that's part of
Right.
reading the room. I'm not going to
Yeah.
explain it to some guy flying in a private jet who
Yeah.
just shows up and plays Bandon, and he's playing golf 4 times a year, and then
Right.
the 14th hole at Pack, and it's dead into the fan, and this
Yeah.
dude hits this cut 6 iron only 100 yards, and they're looking at you like, "Dude, there's a lot of wind up there." "Yeah, I know, brother. I know. There's a lot of wind up
Yeah.
there. We get it. I know." Right,
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
not gonna go deep down that rabbit hole with you. One, because I
Yeah.
don't think you really care. Again, we can go through the physics of all that, but that's but
Well, and
this is
that's where, like, I think at times it's probably hard to do because your livelihood is more dependent upon them taking care of you, right? So it's like,
how well they
y
play, right?
correct, yeah. So, like, if if you take the blame for them hitting bad shots, right, then you're saying that you were wrong and you gave them bad advice, which then discredits your value that you're there for, right? But at the same time, if you're like, this is what you need to do. And if you don't do that, that's your fault, right? Are you not being kind enough to where they're not going to take great care of you because you're being a jerk? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a very difficult balance, I'm sure,
Oh,
to
yeah.
strike for you. And
Yep.
I think you, as a better player, can navigate through that easier than
Yes.
an average caddy can.
Yes. I try well, and I
But
just know what to say
yeah,
in a way to
yeah,
where they understand it, but yet I'm not
yeah,
throwing out a bunch of bullshit.
right,
But I think, yes, I agree with you. It becomes a there's a lot of conversations I have, and I tell the and this is what I do now when I read putts. I'll say, "Hey, okay, you're 2 feet out on the right. That's your dying line. If you're gonna hit it past the hole, you need to take a little inside of that."
sure,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah,
Right?
it's great.
And in that way, they at least sit there and go, "Oh, okay, I" and they'll
Yeah,
hit it by the hole,
right.
and I'll say, "Oh, did you hit the line?" "Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the dying line." I'm like, "Yes, that's where you have to stop it at the hole. So if you
Yeah,
wanted to hit it past the hole, you needed to be a little inside of that line, and then
right.
once we get on that page,
Yeah,
and but see, with really good golfers usually with really good golfers off gate, I'll say, "Hey, look, do you want me to read these greens, or do you just wanna talk to me what you think?"
sure.
Because
Yeah,
if you just tell me what you think and I see and you say, "Hey, 2 cups out left," and I know it's going right a little bit, and I think, "Yeah, that's a fine line," I'm just gonna tell you go with it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then that's it, because I'm not gonna push it any further than that because they know it's going right, and if they have
yeah,
the right speed, it'll go in. I'm not gonna be
sure.
like, "Well, it's 3 cups, actually." It's like, "Oh, fuck, here we go, dude. What like, come on. If they hit it 2
Yeah,
feet by the hole, it's 2 cups. If it's
right.
4 foot by, it's 3 cups."
Yeah,
Alright, but a good player knows that. But, yeah,
yeah,
when it comes to a higher handicap situation, I have to, again, read the room in a certain way to where they know my information is good, but I'm not criticizing their game at the same time.
right, right.
And
Yeah,
it's a balancing act, and,
I feel the same way as a coach at times where it's like, do you want hard truth or tough love, or do you want me to be Mr. Positivity, encouraging, supportive, like, hey, it's okay that you're not very good at this. Like, this game's really freaking hard. And that's valid. There's a
oh,
ton of truth in it. And if you're not going to work your freaking butt off, you're probably not going to get but so good.
no,
And
oh, dude,
some
100%.
people that do work their butt off never get hardly any better. Right. It's just hard. Yeah. I mean, I probably have learned more caddying in a couple of bigger events that I caddied in than
Oh,
playing
yeah.
in fun tournaments.
Caddying has helped my emotion I'm a very hot player, I play better when I'm angry,
Sure. Me too.
and
And it's
yeah,
not healthy, but
so I gotta play better, dude, I'm
I
not
need to be
gonna
a
I'm
little
not
pissed off to play well.
same here, man,
Yeah.
and, I should send you this video. I'll wrap it up here, I know it's close to your bedtime, it's well, at least my wife's bugging me out, but
Sure.
at the end of the day, I learned something about myself about 6, 7 years ago. So growing up, granted, I was top 2 in Asheville. I was in my region. I'm sitting behind Harold Varner and JT Poston, and I'm top 10 in my region, whatever. Drew Page was up there. So I'm playing very adequate golf to where I feel qualified enough to think I'm the shit. Okay, that's the end of
Sure.
that. And so growing up, I had this intention of, hey, you're a twin handicap, you're a 12 handicap, fuck off. You're not anywhere. You can't sniff me. I
Sure.
own you type shit, and that's just me
Yeah.
being a kid, don't know any better, and so,
Yeah.
going through PGM program it's funny in the PGM program, I didn't play that much, I was in a very it was a very weird mindset, I didn't feel it's not that I didn't have confidence in tournaments, I just really felt like the PGM program was below me. I mean, I showed up with the PAT
Sure.
already passed.
Sure.
And so which is so inadequate. It's this is just my ego and my arrogance.
Sure.
That's all that it was. There's nothing I'm not saying that was legit. That's just me and my personal bullshit.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Bandon, I had some really good buddies of mine, and they are degenerates, and I have a blast. We laugh about God, the most racist it's the most insane thing I've ever played with, and and I'm not saying well, part of me is racist, but not really. But you get the point. And my thing is, these guys suck. They are fucking terrible at golf, and I
Yeah.
have the most fun playing with them, and what I realized is I finally got over myself
Sure.
because now I'm playing with a 15 handicapper, and God forbid if we get him under 90, it's a hell of a day for that guy.
Yeah.
And I used to sometimes go dark because everyone's expecting me to shoot 66, and you know as well as I know, there's some
It's hard to
days where
do.
I just wanna hit shots. I don't wanna
Yeah,
shoot
sure.
6 under par.
Right.
Yes, if it happens, it happens, but sometimes if I have to shoot 6 under, I have to get into a state of mind where I'm a warrior, fuck off, this is my show,
Yeah.
I need to perform, and then
Yeah.
there's some days where I just wanna play golf. And
Sure.
playing with those guys, that really showed me what I needed to learn about myself emotionally, and that came
Yeah.
from caddying too, but it really gave me this idea of, okay, yes, tournament golf is great. Yes, golf is amazing. It's a big part of your life. It's the majority of your life, but the enjoyment factor of it, don't forget about that. 'Cause
For sure.
some people just play to enjoy it, some people are just out there having fun breathing the air, and man, you need to do that too, and I wish I would have played with more golfers that weren't this professional status or whatever when I was younger, because that would have really revealed something to me of, "Hey, dude, it's a plastic ball in a glorified field. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a fucking amazing game, and it will do a lot for you, and it'll teach you a lot of lessons, and man, you're so blessed that we can create a lifestyle around that. That is incredible, but
Yeah.
to think of it as you're higher up on a pedestal than them because of
Mhm.
the type of golf you can play,
Yeah.
man, that you're missing the point. Like, you've
Mhm.
just missed the point completely, and
Yeah.
from a caddy standpoint and from playing this again, the last 6, 7 years, man, it's just been an incredible, actually, shit, it's been close to 8 now, 2018, 20 oh, fuck, even 9 years. But anyways, that to me showed me a lot of what I needed to work on as myself, and so now I still take golf seriously. Like, we had a
Yeah.
buddy, we were at Tokatee, and this buddy of mine goes, "Hey, we're gonna play against one of these maintenance guys." He claims he's a +3, and I'm thinking, "Oh, shit, okay." And then he gets on the tee, and we start battling back and forth, and I end up shooting 7 under, 'cause he put me in that state of mind. I'm like, "Okay,
Sure.
fuck this. You're not just gonna show
Yeah.
up here and start talking your shit, dude. I know you
Yeah.
work out here every day, but I gotta grind." And granted, I had a good day. Thank God that day showed up when that day happened, whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, I realize that that's not what golf is. Yes, there's
Sure.
elements of that of golf that I really enjoy, and when I'm playing with really good players and we're having little battles that are underneath the surface, I love that, and I think that's great, but at the end of the day, I wanna shake your hand and respect you as a person for who you are outside of golf, and
Yeah.
regardless of what they shoot or regardless of what kinda caliber player they are, um that to me is what I've realized that is so special about the game is because it is an open door for anybody,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if it is hard, I get it, it's hard on everybody, and some people, it's like music. Man, I'm tone deaf, dude. I can't play a guitar for shit. It is
Mhm.
not happening. I
Yeah.
want it to happen, and I would have to work my ass off to even be a mediocre musician. And yet
Sure.
you got people that can just pick up a guitar and then in 6 months, they are a scratch golfer in golf and music sense, right? They are just
Yeah.
going through the and so I think golf parallels with that, where I feel
Yeah.
like me and you, we were born with good hand-eye coordination. And so we know how to hit a golf ball, and so that it became a little bit easier for us than most people, but golf is not about, oh, how well of a player you are. There's a lot more to it. It's an onion
Yeah.
that needs to
Yeah.
be peeled away, and there's a lot
For
of
sure.
good stuff there, and so,
Yeah.
that's something I have learned recently and something that I'm very grateful that I have learned, and I guess what I'm saying is, hey, if you've known me as this asshole because you think I'm better than you, I apologize. I've learned my lesson. God bless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that at the end of the day, to wrap this up, the player relationship as a caddy and this is for you caddies out there too, because a player doesn't wanna take you and you feel like you're a good enough caddy, it's much more than that. It's much more about their personal relationship with that caddy, because as a playing professional, we need comfort out there. We need some sort of touch base with reality of what we're doing, and to me, when a good like, my buddy back in high school, he's if I ever did something, he would be the first guy on my bag because he just knows me like the back of my hand, and dude, he would say something to me, and it would snap me right back into what I need to do. That's because he fucking knows me, and he
Yeah.
knows golf really well, so it's a great combination, and so, yeah, for you as well, you and your caddies maintain that relationship, man, and
Yeah, yeah.
even if that guy doesn't know the course that well, I would
Yeah.
still pick him over a local caddy, not because
Yeah.
these local caddies don't now what I would do is maybe on a practice round, bring a local caddy with you
Yeah.
so that your caddy can learn some shit from him or her,
Right.
and then that way he can tie in a little bit of information in
Yeah.
with y'all's game,
Yeah.
but
Well, yeah, and there's like the greens are so big at Bandon and, wind direction and how hard it's blowing is gonna have a lot to do with, just navigating your way around there. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get back out there. Obviously, it's a freaking crazy cool place to be able to come and compete at, and it's gonna be fun. And I mean, I've learned a lot about myself, I'd say, in the last handful of years too, from that standpoint, just like, yes, competing is an important part of what I like to do as a golf professional, but it can't be the thing that defines me as a person and that I get so riled up over a bad shot or a bad hole or a bad round. I mean, last year, for instance, I had my worst competitive round as my last round right before the national event. And I think in years prior, I probably would have let that get under my skin and create a ton of doubt. But I was like, look, bad rounds happen. I'm going to take it and learn from it. And yeah, just I kind of came up with a slogan last year of just do the best you can. Whatever happens, happens. And,
right,
all you can do is the best you can do. Right. And if that's good enough for whatever your goals are, great. And if not, like, at times you got to go back to the drawing board and figure out what you're not doing well. And, yeah, I
totally,
mean, that's the best part about golf is like literally every day is going to be a totally different experience. Right.
yeah,
Like you're never
yeah,
going to play the
yeah,
exact same round twice. So,
right,
yeah, man. I
yeah.
appreciate you having me on though.
Oh, dude, I'm just glad I got to actually talk to you,
Yeah.
and we got to battle some I mean, just really talk about anything. I think down the road, we'll do it again. We have
Yeah.
to, especially if and now this is what I would like to do because we didn't get to play last time.
Yeah.
During the championship, I don't again, I don't care if you guys want information, great, I'll be more than happy to give it, but I just wanna play. I just
Yeah.
wanna see you play, I wanna see the
Yeah.
game, I wanna
Yeah.
see what's going on and just
Yeah.
talk golf, man, and just
Yeah.
see
Come hang.
where
I mean,
yeah, and
it,
see what's
if
going on, you know?
yeah, if timing works where you're not busy working and doing stuff with the kids, by all means, feel free to, come hang, whether it's during a practice round or if you just want to come watch some of the tournament. I mean,
That's
you
probably what I'm
know,
gonna try to do, man. I
yeah,
think I'm gonna try to watch. I'm gonna try to find you
yeah,
and see what you got and
yeah,
fucking A, see what you got. You're goddamn competing in the national tournament. It's not whatever, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
hang
No, for
out,
sure. I mean,
hang with the
it's
boys,
fun.
see what's
Yeah. I
up,
mean, I
and
think again, you'll probably take away from it that like, yeah, there's absolutely no reason that you can't be in that same spot down the line, right?
well,
And
you wanna
that's
hear you wanna hear my theory?
yeah.
So, I think I've made 6 out of 8 cuts in the major tournaments in the section,
Hmm.
but yet, a few of the section tournaments, I get so flustered and fuck up in the final round, and so I'm still kind of working on that point, but the one tournament I was doing well, I was 5 under on the front 9, and I'm actually finally on the leaderboard, and then they give me that $100 fine for yelling "fuck," whatever, and then sure enough, I get suspended, and then I again, not saying this is a conspiracy theory, it just so happened the year I'm suspended is the year that I could qualified for the PGA at Bandon,
Sure. Yeah.
and PNW section. I'm the only caddy in that section that got elected to that section through ever, and upper management at Bandon, no offense to them, but the morale between upper management at Bandon and the caddy yard is very low.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
there's a few individuals within the upper management that have known to not really respect caddies,
Sure.
and one of those guys was the president of the PNW section at the time who signed off on my suspension. So
Yeah.
I've always thought in my head thinking, "Well, okay, maybe they just didn't want me to represent them," because I could have I don't know, man, those guys this is a tough section to make shit in, and the tournament this year, they were pretty good. So I don't know, that's just me thinking, but it is very disappointing
Yeah.
that I couldn't at least gave it a
Have a chance. Yeah.
yeah, man, because by the time my suspension was up, all the tournaments were done. And
Right.
so now this year, the PPC, I believe, is in somewhere in Idaho or wherever, and it's not gonna be at Bandon. Because
Yeah.
I hate to tell y'all this, if I had the chance to play at Bandon, man, fuck me. And then what's funny, if I did happen to somehow squall out decent and play the PGA Championship, I would be like you, I'd think like, "Holy fuck, is that who am I standing next to?" And you look back
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
God knows, like, Siwoo Kim or whatever, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
"Holy fuck, where
Yeah.
how did I get here? Okay, breathe."
It's a pretty wild ride. I mean, like, hanging out
It
in the
is, dude.
locker room with I was in a corner with 6 Hall of Famers in the future, and it's just like, I
I
shouldn't be here, but they
yeah,
were
I
super
got
cool to me. They're like, asking me questions about me, and,
yeah,
dude, I don't
that's
wanna talk about me, I just wanna listen to you guys.
yeah, right? Don't yeah, just
So
let me sit in the corner. It's gonna take me 12 minutes to tie my shoes, by the way, so
right. Yeah.
um, do you have any final words for the old program? No?
Nah, man. I mean, I love what you're doing. Again, like I think more open and transparent and just being authentic to yourself and not caring too much about whether or not it ruffles some feathers and if there's backlash, whatever, right? I would rather speak my piece and my truth to how I feel my career is unfolding and how yeah, decisions that other people make are affecting that. And
Yeah,
I never want to put anyone in that position because, yeah, I just want people to be freaking happy and to feel like they're having an impact on other people's lives and that we as golf professionals can be supportive and encouraging to each other instead of constantly being at each other's throats competing for freaking scraps that realistically were left on the table, right?
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Keep doing what you're doing, homie.
Thank you, brother. That's my goal. I again, I want the truth. I think a lot of people think I just chase hot takes, which maybe slightly I do. It's kind of fun. But
Well, I
and
mean, look, like you chop up little bits and pieces of long form conversation and put it on Instagram based on, yeah, like realistically, short content does better on Instagram. So when you
yes,
can pull 30-second nuggets from a 2 hour long conversation, you're not going to find the slow conversation to put on Instagram. Like that's
no.
just the
Oh
reality.
yeah, the algorithm does well with 7 to 15-second clips.
Right.
So
So,
I don't really have a choice there. But what I do have a choice with episodes, what I try to do is I try to do at least 45 to a minute 15 long segments.
sure.
And I try to showcase the people talking instead of me talking because it's not
Sure.
about me, it's about the individual I am currently interviewing. But I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, my goal is to create accessibility for professional golf. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of, and also my, one of my goals was to create a safe space for professional golfers, PGA professionals, and caddies. I think we don't have very many safe spaces in the golf world, and so I want people to
Yeah.
feel like they can be themselves. And then I think also I just want change in certain aspects in the golf world to where hopefully we can get these changes made, and then golf becomes again more accessible to pursue as a career.
Yeah.
And I think that just all starts with somebody who's brave enough to just tell people how it is. And
Mhm.
my goal to me is I will always be myself no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as long as I can maintain that sort of integrity, then I think everything will just sort of fall in place. And it all starts with having fine gentlemen like you on my show, because without that, I don't have anything. It's just me sitting behind a mic talking shit. So, in all fairness, I am more thankful to have individuals, again, like yourself, to give me your story and to shed some light on things, because now people can really start to develop a frame of mind of not just me, but there's others out there that think similar to what I'm doing and have these sort of concerns that need to be addressed. Well, that
Wonderful.
is, yeah, I was gonna say that's it for old Looper talk. Again, Rupe Taylor. Um, Man, give him a follow on Instagram. I'm telling you right now, not only it's a great golf swing to watch, very unique move, which I really like the move. To me, it looks very powerful, but not to glaze you there a little bit. What I do enjoy is you're talking to a very experienced professional here who will give you insights, will give you ideas on things that again are transparent and they're very real. And that to me is something I enjoy on my channel. And so we're very glad to have Roop. And yeah, he's a fellow wolf pack. What we do this, right? This
Yeah.
little gay thing. Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
know. We hold on to that 83 championship like it's our
Oh,
life.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
our
yeah.
God. I love that. But
Yeah.
um yeah, man. Thanks again for listening to Looper Talk. Again, Rupe Taylor here. My name is Tim Palmer. And yeah, don't forget, boys, lighten your bags, 200 a strap. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate you.